All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about minimum and living wages. All right, a wage standard, okay, where they offer their employees, okay, their workers, their workforce, minimum wages. All right, now this is a minimum wage that is required, okay, for all the employers to pay their employees. Okay, as a result of which the employees can be rest assured that they won't be paid any less than the minimum wages. Okay, so if we look at your wages and quantity chart again, if this is your supply of labor, and let's say this is your demand, okay, your minimum wage would be, let's say, for example, at the equilibrium point, where as per rules, regulations, and government intervention, okay, the suppliers agree to pay what the employers or employees rather demand. The employers agree to pay what the employees demand. So this could be your minimum wage over here. And at minimum wage, let's say you have 1,500 workers, and the minimum wage is $18, for example. All right, now this is your minimum wage. However, okay, at certain times, you also have okay, workers, especially union workers, who may go ahead and demand a higher wage, okay, than the minimum wage, which is also called a living wage. Okay, so living wage. Okay, over here you have your minimum wage. And this is required by all employers. So required for all employers. Now, when union workers they demand living wages, it could be because of certain types of working conditions. It could be because of a reasonable standard of living based on the rising prices, okay, and the consumer price index, okay, as a result of which certain employers, let's say um, employees who work for the city, so if you have the city might be required to pay its employees or union workers a higher wage than the minimum wages. Okay, so for that reason, you have something called living wages, and your living wages would be, let's say, for example, somewhere over here, sort of like your price ceiling or price floor. Okay, and this would be, in this case, $20, for example. However, as you may notice, okay, when the wages go up, okay, your demand for workers goes down. So this could be 1,000 workers rather than 1,500. Okay, so the employer is willing to hire 1,000 workers because the wages have gone up, because now the cost of production for the employer has gone up. Okay, as the employer hires more workers at higher wages, the cost of production goes up. As a result of which, to break even or to make profit in the business, the employers can only hire 1,000 workers rather than 1,500 workers at $18 an hour. All right. However, the supply of labor goes up. Now, all of a sudden, the workers are willing to work. More workers are willing to work, as a result of which the supply of labor, let's say this is 1,800 workers. Okay, this supply goes up. All right. So this has to do with living wages, which is higher than minimum wage. And this may not be required from all the employers within a country. However, certain occupations may require a living wage, especially occupations that are high risk or occupations in a city or state where the prices are rising in general for basic necessities for food, water, shelter, so on and so forth. Okay, so higher than minimum wages. All right, so that will be it when it comes to minimum and living wages. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Obey. Have yourself a great day.